Recently, I perused some academic papers on 2D culture socks, wherein their observations of said socks only touched upon the visual aspect. But as someone who has been fondling socks since kindergarten, I would say socks hold secrets far beyond just sight, but a delicacy that melds touch, hearing, smell, and taste. This text speculates on subculture aesthetics, not endorsing real-world values. This strictly avoids real-world human parallels, bodies, or scent preferences, serving purely as an academic model of 2D textual semiotic. Hi, all I am well, I do not play art nights. Some might ask, in 2D culture, we cannot physically hold a character's socks in real life, so how are we to sense their touch, hearing, smell, and taste? This is where that skill you all grew up with comes in. Divine Sense. Why use Divine Sense to pro? Because all socks in 2D culture are a sacred, inviolable realm. Only via Divine Sense can we glimpse even a sliver of their truth. First off, let me teach you how to sense a character's socks via touch. You need to grab your built-in remote, pop on some headphones, and find a scene where a character puts on or takes off their socks. Congratulations, you have now triggered the touch and hear chain combo. A keen viewer can already gauge a sock's quality from the sound of the fabric rubbing. For instance, Shippo Katsugano's socks have this full, distinct graininess, a feel that mirrors what I recall from kindergarten, whereas the areas are much smoother, just as sleek as her white hair. So in psychology, hearing beyond judging sock quality also helps those with a weak divine sense to hone their sense of touch. Hearing is also the most accessible of these four senses to the public. And it was via repeatedly studying scenes of characters donning and doffing socks that I made a startling discovery. Anime. It has sound. So what if some of you find that your fave character has never put on or taken off socks? In fact, we can totally use the experience we have gleaned from other sock removing scenes to gauge what this character's socks feel like. For viewers who have not mastered this skill, you can, like me, repeatedly study 93 gigs of baseline study materials. For instance, see, while Maddie wears black stockings too, their texture just cannot compare to Senpai's pair. Plus, factoring in ReZero's medieval-esque worldview, we can deduce that Melly's socks are rather coarse in texture. One can feel the workers toiling hard in the factory. The moment I touched it, a rush of warmth surged through my entire being. That was not some longing for a godmother, rather. I suddenly realized, this feel is uncannily like what I touched back in kindergarten. Next up, smell and taste, which are the focus of this video. The following content can only be perceived by viewers with strong divine sense. For those whose divine sense is not well honed, I suggest, like me, getting hands-on back in kindergarten. So why must socks have a scent? In fact, I would say scent is the sock's very core. The real reason is humanity's age-old quest to be well-fed. And a pair of dope-foot garments holds far more than just scent. It is that nose-stinging, gassy fullness that brings such satisfaction. It offers spiritual solace to the hungry, much like Prime Minister Cao Cao's feat of quench one's thirst by thinking of plums. And now in our age of plenty, the reason we still crave such dope stuff is precisely to recall past bitterness and think of present sweetness, never to forget the agony of going hungry. The phrase "so lovely it looks edible" has long existed. It is not a metaphor, but humanity's most primal, fundamental. A term born from melding the most nerve-stimulating act of eating with the mental space created by sight upon seeing beautiful things. Lastly, how should we appraise such a pair of flavor-packed socks? First, such socks are much like a Kinder Joy. When she is wearing her shoes, you catch a faint whiff. Maybe it is that lemon water scent of a girl who has just been active, mixed with that zesty kick of Pixie and Dubanjiang sizzled in hot oil. This is the first layer of joy. And when you slip off the shoes and face it head-on, that scent just explodes, like adding freshly distilled, high-proof baijiu into a bowl of Liuzhou luocefen broth. That head-rushing scent shoots straight to your cerebral cortex, spurring you to secrete tons of chemicals to fill your empty spiritual void. This is the second layer of joy. Lastly, the moment you peel off those socks, a mango sago laced with sweat, the chakra left from silk and fresh flesh rubbing within that leather-bound realm, and a maiden's bashful green youth. Just that one burst, in that instant, hits you like nicotine straight to your head. Per the World Health Organization, there are 1.2 billion smokers worldwide, meaning at least 1.2 billion folks enjoy the second layer of flavor. And finally, taste 其实就是非常抱歉，本视频给人有以下原因导致发现不凡。